everyone! So I am back with another Keep or Donate video, and in this video I'm going to be swatching the rest of my lip tars, and there are 8 of them. Similar to my last Keep or Donate video, if you're interested in seeing a review of the lip tars, I will link a previous video that I did down below where I swatch and review the lip tars contained in the Pro Picks Volume 3 set. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on the lip tars as well as how I apply them, then please just click on that video down below. This video is essentially a decluttering video where I swatch 8 of my lip tars and I decide whether or not to keep them or to let them go. So with that being said, let's jump right into the first swatch, which is Pretty Boy. This is a gorgeous fuchsia shade. It applies really nicely. You can make the shade as sheer or as pigmented as you would like. I have it with a medium type pigmentation on my lips today, and I just love the way it looks. I'm not going to decide in this video whether I'm keeping something versus letting it go, but I will include that information when I edit the video and when I review the footage to see how each product looks on my lips. This next shade here is called Anime, and wow, this is a stunning shade. I have it in a little mini and it's the new packaging. So this is one of my newer lip tars, whereas Pretty Boy is one of my first lip tars, and both are actually okay. In my last video, I had a few products that smelled a little bit off, but these two products smell perfectly fine. I really thought this would be more similar to Pretty Boy, but as you can see in this video, it is much brighter and much more pigmented. It is a really stunning shade. In real life, there's almost a touch of neon to it, and I just think it's really bold and striking. So I am in love with this shade. This next lip tar is in the shade Stalker, and it is a stunning red. It's a very bold and pigmented blood red, and I just find it very beautiful on. The 3 lip tars that I've swatched so far, and the rest of the lip tars in this video, are all in the matte formulation. So some do look truly matte, whereas some appear to be more of a demi-matte finish, depending on how much of the oils from the product comes out when you squeeze that little pinprick on the back of your hand to apply the product. So I really love the shade. I am gonna review the footage, but as of now, I definitely think I want to keep this. This was also one of my very first lip tars, and it actually burst on me and it made a huge mess, but I was able to salvage it. I just applied some clear nail polish. I used a top coat on the top here, and it sealed up the edges and it no longer leaks, but yeah, it made such a huge mess when it burst. This next one here is called NSFW, or Not Safe for Work, and it is very similar to Stalker, except it's got more of a Bordeaux or burgundy undertone. It's a little bit of a deeper red, not as bright. I also found this one not as pigmented and a little bit more shiny, but that was probably because more of the oils came out rather than the pigment. So the first bit that I squeezed out was pretty much pure oil because this product had separated, and I had to squeeze it a little bit more to start getting the pigment out. So that's probably why it's a little more glossy than Stalker, even though both of these are considered to be matte shades. So I do like this one, but I have to say out of the 2, I prefer Stalker, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be hanging on to this one or letting it go. This next shade is in Hoochie, and it's basically a bright violet color. I had a little bit of trouble with this because this product has started to separate quite a bit, so a lot of the oils came out and it made it difficult to work with because it wasn't as pigmented as a lot of the other lip tars, so I felt like my stained lips were showing through a little bit. So I actually patted it down and reapplied another couple of coats, and I think the color has built up quite nicely and is a good representation of the true color that's in the tube. So this shade is of course very purple leaning. It's got a cool pink undertone to it, so I think the shade is really lovely, but I'm not sure it's the type of shade I would reach for on a regular basis or even on an irregular basis. Looking at myself in the LCD of my camera right now, I think the shade is not bad for my skin tone, but it's not the greatest either. So I'm definitely going to review the footage carefully before I decide on this one. This next shade is in Strumpet, and it's a lovely dark vampy color, but still has a hint of brightness or a hint of fuchsia to it. It's essentially a Bordeaux or a wine type shade, but with a little bit of a fuchsia kick. I believe I got this product from a Sephora favorites set, and it was definitely one of the highlights for me from that that set. So I'm leaning towards keeping it, but once again, I'm going to be reviewing the footage before I decide. As it stands now, I really love this shade. I'm reminded by that time that I first swatched it, and I really wish I had reached for my lip tars more over the past couple of years because I'm reminded by how much I love them with this Keep or Donate video. The next shade is called Vintage, and this is such a beautiful shade. It's a very dark vampy red, and it's got a little bit of brown to it, but not too much. I think the shade really does epitomize vintage with the 1920s feel, the flapper days and all that jazz. So really love this shade at the moment. I apologize if it looks messy. I can't really tell because the screen is a little bit far away, but the lip tars are literally getting all over my hands and all over the place, and I'm starting to not even really be able to tell where my lips are because there is so much staining and it's kind of rubbed out of my lip lines. Anyway, I hope it doesn't look too messy on camera, but this color is simply stunning and I'm definitely leaning towards keeping this one. The last shade that I'm going to be swatching today is Black Dahlia, and it is another stunning, very pigmented shade. It is a very dark, deep red. It is beautiful on, and it's also very comfortable, and it was relatively easy to apply. This is another mini, and this was the reason I wanted to buy that little set that had the 4 minis. So this is another shade I wish I had worn more. It's still good, so I can definitely wear it from here on out. This particular Keep or Donate video has definitely made me fall in love with the lip tars again, and it also makes me feel more comfortable wearing these like dark, bold lippies. As you may know, I tend to gravitate towards more neutral colors on a day-to-day basis, but these shades that I've swatched today are also striking, and it makes me want to pull out a bold lippy more often. So that is going to be it for this episode of Keep or Donate. I loved a lot of the swatches today, so I think I'm going to have a hard time letting go of a lot of lip tars in this video, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing so long as I do love the product and I actually start reaching for it. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Keep or Donate. I will be back very soon with another one. Until next time, please take care and bye for now.